All right, welcome back to the channel. So Errol Spence Jr. gets absolutely ripped by Angel Garcia. It says, Danny, don't drink and drive like Errol. He stays on his game, man. He came coming out sounding just like Bo Mack and what Bo Mack said about Errol before this car accident took place. But look, man, it's kind of fair. Let's talk about what he has to say in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, you know, there's a saying that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I first heard that, I do believe, on an NBA Live game or EA Sports game, one of them, 2K, NBA 2K or NBA K, you get it, one of those basketball games. And they would always talk about, as soon as I turned on the game with my son, they would say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And what that means is that, you know, there's a definitely physical gifts that people have in their lives that allow them to beat other people that put in the same amount of work. But if you're not working, if you're not focused, if you're not on your grind every day with your mind on your goal, and somebody else is more focused than you, eventually they will overcome your talent, right? Because talent means a lot, but skill, experience, focus, dedication also means a lot because it actually allows you to reach your full potential. And that's kind of what talent means. Talent is like, what is your potential? And when you look at fighters like Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence, and you listen to what people are saying about, well, specifically Errol Spence, and you listen to say like what Abel Sanchez has to say about this fight coming up, and what Dan, they believe is Joe Goosen. I can't remember which one. Rest in peace to the Goosen that passed away. But the Goosen that is still a coach and is working for BBC, he said the same thing. He kept talking about the difference between Errol Spence and Danny Garcia being talent. Like, it's like, Danny's very fundamentally sound. He's very strong. He's got great timing. He's got great courage. He's got all of these things. But what he doesn't have that Errol Spence Jr. has in abundance is talent. You hear the same thing said about Terrence Crawford versus somebody like Aegis Kalvanakis or many of the other people that he fought. They say, hey, you know, technically Bud makes a lot of mistakes, but he's just such a gifted athlete that he can make up for it, right? And he works hard. So when rumors of Errol Spence Jr. started coming around, and this was probably before the Mikey Garcia fight was the first time I really started getting hit in the ear with, man, Errol's not taking care of business. Errol is doing this. Errol's doing that. And it elevated all the way to the point where, you know, you have Bo Mack shortly before Errol Spence Jr.'s accident saying, a drunk ain't ish, right? A drunk ain't ish, showing pictures of Errol and all that. So you could see that Terrence Crawford was watching Errol. Bo Mack was watching Errol. The whole boxing world was watching Errol and seeing that Errol, like, his discipline was going down and going down, right? He had a lot of talent, but he didn't have the hard work. And that's where Danny Garcia, or excuse me, Angel Garcia comes out in the press conference and says it. Like, well, actually he's answering over the top of Danny Garcia, and he says, look, Danny Garcia is dedicated. Danny Garcia ain't out there drinking and driving. He ain't running around doing this and that. You know, he's dedicated to the game. He's focused on the game. Well, who was that obviously a shot at, right? Why would he bring that up? Because that's what Errol Spence Jr. was doing. Errol was out drinking. He was out there, you know, getting in car accidents. And it wasn't just the accident itself. It was just the videos that you would see of him where he looked like he was clearly inebriated. All this stuff was adding up and making people lick their chops like, yeah, I think I see something in Errol. My hard work is going to beat his talent, right? And that's what Angel Garcia was alluding to, right? The wreck shot at Errol, a fair shot though. Like yesterday when he said something about Derek James and the rest of the team from Errol Spence Jr. putting him in the ring because they didn't really love him and they just were thinking, you know, like about the money and all that. I thought that was over the line. I thought that was over the top because you're now looking at the motivations of people, right? Like saying that somebody like Derek James, somebody that's been training Errol Spence Jr. since he's, 15, 16 years old, right? For over 10 years for sure, would not be able to tell or care that little about Errol Spence Jr. that he would put him out there where he really feels like Errol Spence Jr.'s life could be at risk or his health could be at risk, right? Or if less importantly, his record could be at risk. Why would somebody like Derrick James do that when Derrick James could have rushed Errol Spence Jr. a bunch of times, I suppose. If he wasn't interested in him, why would he work with him from the ground up? This is serious. He's clearly somebody that he cares about. So, as far as Derrick James not looking out for the best interests of Errol, I don't believe that. His father not looking out for his best interests, I don't believe that. But I do believe that both of them are going to do what Errol Spence Jr. wants them to do. And what Errol Spence wants to do is go and fight the best available guy that he can, that he'd been mandated to fight before, in Danny Garcia. But again, it is reasonable for Danny to look at him like, or Angel to look at him like, yeah, man, I think you were drunk, man. I think, no, you're not going to be able to get away with tearing your body down and all that while I'm working hard and all that, right? Whatever they need to build themselves up. But here's the problem. Errol has, first of all, when hard work beats talent, when talent don't work hard, right? However, when talent works hard and mediocre talent works hard, mediocre talent got to get lucky to do anything with the talented guy that works harder than you. And that's what it sounds like now in Errol Spence Jr.'s camp. It sounded like since January that Errol has been working harder than Danny. And why do I say that? Because I listened to what Danny says that he does. He's like, man, I got up to sparring 12 rounds and, I'm in shape. Errol's sparring 16, 18 rounds, right? Switching guys in and out. Now, I don't know if that right there just necessarily means that Errol's working harder than Danny, but I do believe that he is, dog. I believe that this guy really has a hunger, something really to prove. And I don't see that intense. I hear the words from Danny Garcia, but I don't see the intensity from Danny Garcia, man. And Danny can say what he wants, dog, but Danny knows when he's come up against guys like Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, the problem is his athleticism. That thing that you can't get by working hard. Like you can make your talent the best that it can be. But if you're a B athlete, you're a B athlete. If you're an A athlete, you're an A athlete. If you're a C athlete, you're a C athlete. Now, I believe that Danny's a B athlete, and I believe that Errol is an A athlete. And the A athlete will beat the B athlete if everything else is equal. But even then, I don't think everything else is equal. I think Errol Spence Jr. is also a lot more well-schooled fighter than Danny Garcia, and a more complete fighter than Danny Garcia. And quite honestly, I believe that Errol has an advantage in this fight and in every fight that he goes into that Danny Garcia just does not have. And that is Derrick James. I'm looking for a performance out of Errol Spence Jr. that is going to mirror the Jermell Charlo's performance over Jason Rosario. You saw how well prepared, because Jason Rosario is a very dangerous puncher too. Very strong. Definitely had one of the biggest punchers at 154 pounds. Derrick James trained Jermell Charlo to take that power completely out of the equation, man. Came up with a magnificent game plan for him. I don't expect anything less from Errol Spence Jr. moving in this fight and in moving forward, man. You can just tell this guy's really, really dialed in, really, really focused. So, as far as what Angel says, Angel Garcia is always going to say some stuff that's colorful, and I love it. I love his support for his son. I believe that he's doing like everything that he's supposed to do. And especially when you're talking about like doing and saying things that he believes will help build the confidence of his fighter and of his son. And my hat goes off to him for that. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. I'll probably do a video after the weigh-ins later today. Definitely check me out on the live streams. Thank you guys so much for your support. And with that, I'm out. Peace.